All right, what's up, guys? Morning, morning, guys. Okay, we're live. We are absolutely live, 100%. You guys should have been listening to some music. Bunt, big favorite of mine. Can't wait to see. I think he's gonna be playing here in Chicago in a little bit. What's up, San Igle, Carlos? ¿Qué tal todos aquí? Seth, Edwin, Corey, Harshi, Puccini, Ftchios, James, Michael, Gabriel, y'all going crazy in here. Eric and Corey. We got Juan Carlos, Seth, Joe, Lonzo, what's good, brother? Ruben, Karen. Guys, y'all checking in, logging in here. Amy, Kaz, Greg. Morning, Greg. Hope your travels went well, brother. Edgar, Gio. We got the bangers on. It's the only way to start the day. What's up, Linda, Steven, Rising Grind, Tradetopians. That's right. What's up, Tanya? Tanya, I texted you. You won the raffle, so I sent you your prize. Nasdaq in a very interesting POI. We're gonna get in there. Ruslan, Justina, Moving Wicks, you gotta help us out this today. We got what up, Ray, Al Boss, Villarica. What's up, Portugal? Top of New York City. I love it, Daniel. Gold buys. We'll dive in there. Solo son clases en inglés. Les doy una mezcla, les doy una traducción cuando pueda. What's up, Toby from Belgium? First live. Welcome, Billy. Grateful. Kevin Block. There we go. All right, cool. So, yeah, let's dive into everything. We have New York Open in about 11, 12 minutes. Right now, we saw metals sweep liquidity. So I was telling you guys yesterday how I didn't want to get involved in these buys on gold. I was walking you through my take on this, and I was like, you know what, guys? Like, I see the small time frame setup. I think some of you were asking about it, and then some of you were also sharing it, whether you're in the exchange or in the syndicate. But you guys are sharing them in here, some of these ideas. And if you are in the free community, make sure, like, if you want some feedback on anything, you can go ahead and drop your charts in here. I'll go ahead and look through them. If it's urgent, kind of like make a little note of it, like, hey, I think it's in a POI, blah, blah, blah. If it's not, then, just, like, I guess be respectful of the time. But I'm going to go over a little bit about metals, and then we're going to dive into silver and then indices as usual. So first, though, let me make sure I can get you guys invited in here. So let me get y'all in here. Join. All right. So that's right here. Click the link pinned at the top to join the community. Guys, we're on our way to 1,000 members in the community in our first official live week. Y'all, we're going crazy in here. So, okay, I'm going to have this open. I see Michael, you already dropped a chart in here, so I'll pull this up. All right, beautiful. Little Euro play. I think this may have already rejected. It looks like it already swept. It didn't even give a higher high, so with structure, it's not my favorite. It looks like we've already kind of efficient here, so I'd have to zoom into what's going on here. So not my favorite setup. But okay, now with gold, like I was saying, I was waiting I wanted to see just metals sweep liquidity, and gold did. Gold got and broke below everything. And one thing I noticed between gold and silver, because I took a silver buy right here. Guys, make sure you're live, okay? Make sure you're live on the stream. Make sure the stream says live. Aseguren que estén en vivo. Okay, just want to make sure no one's left behind. You're kind of watching from the replay. So when we saw silver, for example, I took a buy position here on silver. There was a few reasons. One, we had a massive liquidity sweep here clearing out just days and days and days worth of buys. Then when we got highs over here, I wasn't fully convinced. I didn't love this. We traded up here for about a few hours, so nothing crazy. So I was like, I'll kind of be the judge of this idea. But then we get another move down, right? We get another big sweep. The market kind of stalls out and then rallies. So I'm thinking, okay, let's see how price action unfolds. And, we see more lows on Monday. We see Tuesday's New York session lows, Asian sessions lows. And then we see silver absolutely melt down. Just full, massive meltdown. But the difference was, and the reason I felt better about buys on silver is because we're getting higher lows, whereas gold only gave us lower lows, and it's really clearing that 4-hour liquidity. So when we see 4-hour liquidity get swept this way, we see so much money get obliterated, and then after, especially going quite a bit under, we saw the market drop well over 250 pips below, and then silver is still within our structure. I felt pretty good about the buy, so I did take a position after it cleared this low here. And then, I just took this position before we went live here. So how do you guys feel about this setup? Did anyone else take silver? Silver is definitely not the most popular of of trades by any means, because people just aren't used to trading silver. It's not on people's radar. Gold is just always the one, right? Gold is always the one that's talked about. So yeah, I think at this point we'll kind of see what kind of reversals we're going to get. I think if you did take an entry by any chance, I already moved my stop at least to reduce risk. And then we'll kind of see if we fill some more of this imbalance. There's a lot of liquidity left behind, so we might even sweep all this and go from there. So here, and then the big thing too is I want to see if we come back, if gold will reverse fully to this zone, because sometimes we'll see the reversal and then it'll kind of struggle at the previous support. So this kind of lures in the good old break and retest. But if you want a high conservative exit, just keeping in mind the support with a correlated asset or with exactly what it is that you're trading, those are also great places to just take some profit and call it a day. So with silver, this is the position. I wasn't able to be live exactly when I took the position, so unfortunately I wasn't as useful to you guys as I would have liked to be. And then right now I'm going for kind of just playing it out, seeing how it goes. There's a good chance that we rebalance at least to these previous levels of support. Otherwise, we may just continue to rebalance and go even beyond this, because there we are sitting on some liquidity kind of over and over and over again over here. All of this is Asian and New York session liquidity. So we'll kind of play it by ear, see how everything continues to move ahead. I think the highest probability exit would be right there, which would put you at just shy of a 2R. Okay, anyways, but that is silver. Now, let's see here. Let's go to indices. I know this is what we want. We'll dive into majors, and I'll show you guys kind of how the market ended up playing out yesterday, and we'll go over, what the majors did, how correlation and divergence helped us out to avoid a couple of trades that would have resulted in losses. And then we'll also talk about what else is setting up now moving forward. So yesterday, guys, we had New York Open. New York Open had a nice sweep to the low before it absolutely just catapulted. So we saw this fly, right? We're seeing the markets go absolutely bullish on a total tear here. And at the moment, I know someone said, hey, it's an interesting POI. My question for you is why? What is the point of interest that you see? And I just want to kind of understand where you guys are coming from here. Okay. So we have zooming in here. We have the buy. If you want to go in depth into how this unfolded, go check out yesterday's live stream. We stream every single day, Monday through Friday. So we see the sweep of the liquidity. We see the market rally. It's been consolidating. Now, here looking at NASDAQ, the interesting thing we got yesterday. So this is where the market tries to create a distribution. It tries to give kind of that sell scenario. Now, this distribution would be something like this. The market sweeps liquidity, and then it starts to drop. So we're seeing it go down. But you would have wanted to see a lower low. Now, price gets below here for like a split second, but just comes right back anyways, and then continues. So this to me doesn't look like distribution. For those of you that have learned Wyckoff, this doesn't look like lower lows. This looks like a failed low. This looks like it's enticing sellers into the market, activating sell stops before everything turns around. So if anything, this can actually, we can see that sells are introduced into the market here, which pushes prices down before the market reverses. Now, if I would have had full conviction in this idea, I would have wanted I wanted us to get stable highs over here. I would have wanted demand up here, and then had we stayed up here, this buy is a no-brainer. But because that's not how this went, we have to reconsider a couple things. Now, do you get a shift in structure on the 1 minute? Sure. We do. 1 minute, yes, we got lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, higher highs. Great. The 5 minute, though, it just wasn't too much demand up here. So because we're trading with the trend, this may be a trade that does continue, but we're so bullish right now, there's a good chance this is starting to lose some steam. But what we can do is we can take a look at Dow. Okay, we can take a look at Dow. And Dow might be just giving us a slightly different setup. Now, on the higher time frames, as we saw yesterday we ended up getting into our sell zone right there. Right, beautiful sell. It just tagged our zone. Now, unfortunately, it didn't trigger me in. Desafortunadamente no me activó, but it hit the zone. I know some of you sent me your setups, your screenshots, your entries. So congratulations. I know you guys are taking some wins. So I'm seeing you guys drop the wins in the community. Love to see that. And remember, for those of you that are in the community, we are going to be selecting winners for funded accounts, just based off of just drop it in there in the win section, and then we'll just show you guys some love back. And we'll be choosing a couple winners for funded accounts. So make sure you're in the school. Link is pinned up there. So Dow has been more bearish. Boy, look at this. This versus this, super different. We're seeing Dow kind of making lower highs and lower lows, squeezing quite a bit. The unraveling, maybe it starts today, but tomorrow's PPI, so tomorrow might be the big moving. But what we're seeing happen is, now after it was kind of making its lower lows and lower highs, we're starting to see a shift right now, though. And check this out. Here's what I mean by that. During London session, we kind of got this high of here for NASDAQ, and then we started to work our way down. Okay. We came up to here, and then got above for a few minutes and then lost momentum. But when we look at Dow Jones is starting to trade higher at a faster pace. We're starting to be more bullish, especially right now with New York Open. So New York Open is starting to really, really take this to the upside, and I don't have any new entries in here. Like, this has all already been filled out. The reversal out of this zone, success. The higher time frame reversal also looks like the job got done as well, the minimums. So all of this to me looks like we already are completed. So when we're looking at structure and we're looking at 5 minute structure, This last sell-off right here before the market, it dips under, induces sells, triggers, lures them in. If we can get the higher high now, then I'm enticed to take a position on a buy. But we need that first. I want to see stronger bullish price action. That way we can have this confirmed. And if we're looking at NASDAQ again, we'll get further confirmation. So we want to just wait and see. Let's let the market give us the right signs to make decisions, to make positions. Right now, there's no need to force it. Right now, let's just let the market do its thing. If you're looking at the 1 minute, where we've gotten our New York Open, it started off very bullish, and the market is continuing to rise. You're looking at Dow Jones. Dow pushed higher, immediately coming back down. So they're moving in a different direction. Now, as we give this a bit more time, for example, if this just comes and works its way down here right away, and let's say it's sweeping, let's say all of this liquidity here, then, it's not necessarily going to be beneficial to us. So right now, we're starting to see, a little bit of both. If NAS here, looks like we're back up above again. If we just keep trading up here, and then by the time the market pulls back down to the zone, it's still the one that's slowest in moving its way down, and it sets us up, then cool, we'll take a position here. But we want to see this first, right? We want to get this bullish structure. We want to get some good old demand up here. Something like this, and then we are golden. And then I would be looking to take a position in this zone, in this area. I feel a lot better about it. So we just got to wait and see. Remember, every candle that prints is intentional. Entonces, chicos, lo que queremos ver aquí, a los que están en español y los que están aquí en español, me confirman aquí en el chat. Me van a saber desde dónde se me conectan. Queremos ver que tengamos demanda en estos precios alcistas, confirmando la tendencia. Y cuando tenemos esa confirmación y nos da retrocesos al mercado, podemos tener buenas entradas de ahí. All right, so NAS is ripping. Perfect. And then you can see, look, Dow is not. Dow is done. It's done. It just is not looking to do all that. The push that we had here, so, I could have zoomed in a little more, I guess. But the sweep of liquidity here, this, I guess, was the ideal sell. If you did want to sell, it was going to be right there. Did anyone short Dow Jones? So I could see, from here we start to get the right there. It starts to sweep to the upside before it drops. So I see, the rejection right there originally. New York Open pushes this a little higher. You'll see one more little move here. So there's a chance that we get another sell-off like right there. However, with something like this, it's a little move, right? A little pump. And then it drops. We hold the consolidation. With something like this, since we're going against the momentum, not exactly my favorite type of trade. Especially since it's a little 3-minute candle. Clears some highs and drops. Could we see a sell from here? It's possible. Look at how NASDAQ right now is just absolutely flying. Dow here, every time it's getting up to these levels, though, it's losing so much momentum. And it's just, like, there's not enough demand up here. So, if we're thinking about any shorts on Dow because of this last 3-minute pump, I think it's possible. I don't think it's a terrible trade. But remember, when you're going against the momentum and all you have is a 3-minute move, you're kind of asking a lot out of a little bit of movement. You're asking a lot on a little bit of volume. So, for example, here, we start to clear the highs. The market literally just drops for 1 minute, and then pumps up again one last time. So it's two bullish candles, maybe three, before everything drops. And then this though is the typical end of New York session type of move. So I will say when you consider these types of movements, we're counter trend higher time frames with the trend lower time frames. So I understand this setup. I think if you are going to take a swing at something like this, you just have to be okay with being able to take a quick loss if that's going to be the case. So with a setup like this, because it's just like a little 1 minute pump and draw and then it just dumps, I would approach this with less risk than usual. That's how I would approach this type of trade. Because I could see it play out, but it doesn't have the same level of conviction as I would with other setups. Okay. So I'll set an alert here. If we get into the zone, we can be kind of ready for this. This looks better, especially just because, like, what gives it confidence is the fact that we've been, sustaining these lower highs, and we've been trading below for quite some time. So getting all the way up to here, honestly, and especially considering just how strongly Nasdaq has just been pushing, it's not terrible. And we're already starting to see a little drop here with NQ. So let's see how it all unfolds and what we can do. I think it's worth a shot. I'm gonna take this, but I am approaching this with less risk. So I'm using about half my usual risk size to take a position with this setup here. One second. Get this here dialed in. So yeah, and this would have to get to 42,350 or above. Okay. It's pretty close, so I don't necessarily want to kind of step away from it for too long. Now, for those of you that maybe were in silver, got a nice rejection, met some resistance here, seeing a little bit of a pullback. So right now, my risk has been reduced, and just kind of let the market, gonna let it trade there. And then while we're seeing the rest of the market unfold here, let's go take a look at some of the other dollar pairs. Right, a lot of the majors, they're making some moves. USD JPY still working its way back down. We got USD CHF where we're still waiting for this setup as well. We had a nice sweep of the low before rallying, and then even then we got a lot of liquidity here building up. A lot of money. USD CAD, we had yesterday came into this zone. So let's see, I know some of you, I'm sure, were following along. This mitigated, so we had the sweep of the low here for about 15 pips. The market gets into our area outside of trading hours. So Asian session doesn't really make sense to trade this, but either way, even if you took something like this, the market still mitigated and went and reversed 17 pips. So when it does something like that, that's our rule to move our stop to our entry, and then this came back to stop out break even. So this ended up in a break even exit. GBP USD, guys, the imbalances were clear, and GBP USD was moving its way super bullish this whole time. So we weren't going to choose to take a short on GU because of the move. Right, this was already during New York session yesterday. Was feeling all of this imbalance. Same thing with NZD, same thing with Australian. So we knew, okay, this is not going to be the proper setup because we don't get anything to trade here, right? Euro here as well. Remember, we talked about how Euro USD had imbalance, but it didn't necessarily have mitigation. So Euro is filling in balance, and it did it at a slower pace compared to everything else. So the Euro was coming back up and up and up and up and up. And then when the market did give this move up here, the reason, one, I didn't short this was because I was asleep, but two, we didn't have the liquidity sweep, right? We got the market to make highs, but it just went to make equal highs. So we use the imbalance to know, should I not be in the market? Because this is the trade that we were looking at yesterday, NZD or Australian. These are the big two. And when NZD got into the zone around an hour after New York opened, in the community specifically, here's where I talked about hey guys, remember, and here in the stream, remember we need to keep in mind the correlated pairs. And since NZD USD was already at a 786 pullback, fully retracing this entire move, but Euro was still way down here. I'm like, guys, we have so much more of an imbalance to fill. We want to just go ahead and just kind of wait this out. And what ended up happening was the ultimate setup that played out was either Euro USD for the short up here, and then NZD USD for the short from last week. So if you guys kept up with last week's short, then our trade actually triggered right over here. So right into this zone, we saw the market sell off, and it's currently, let's see, a little bit. I know it cracked 2R. It went past the 2.5. Did anyone take the NZD sell from last week that we were waiting for? This was a limit that we had set. This was FOMC. So after FOMC, Thursday and Friday, we kind of talked about taking sells in this zone. And that's kind of the nice thing, right? When you're aware of the positioning and you take it with NZD or you take it with Euro, then you got a solid rejection out of this area. And then if you looked at Australian, we had no business trading AUD USD as well because of all for the same exact reasons. The market gets into this zone way before everyone else. So AUD USD was on a mission. And so, this is why, in my opinion, being aware of the divergence between correlated assets, it just saves you from taking the wrong trade. If you have a signature setup and it's failing, that might be one of the reasons why. So anyways, with that being said, what is diverging and what's playing out, this also changes. So right now, for example, if we're looking at price action, real-time price action, we would want to see, okay, well, we clearly saw a pump to the upside, and then now we're seeing it drop. So did one pair drop more than the other? Australian is making lower lows at the moment. It's below the previous low. NZD is not. Okay. Euro is not. And GU is not. So, with all that being said, if we, for example, continue to see AUD USD, have demand trading down here, then that might be setting us up for a selling opportunity in the future. Because here is where we start to see the market pump. Then we see everything start to drop. So if we can see the market give us, and just keep maintaining demand here, if we can keep seeing something like this, then we definitely have a much better opportunity for a short in the future. Okay, so that's kind of my take, my position on how I can see this unfold. The other thing that Michael brought up was the buy scenario, right? We see this sweep of liquidity below. Now just with NZD, but you see it happen with Euro, and you kind of see it happen with GU. So you kind of see it push below liquidity, and then we just see very healthy movement here. This is, I think, when trading kind of these smart money plays gets a little bit more difficult, because you do see a sweep of liquidity, but then the market trades very efficiently. And so do we see the exchange from sellers to buyers? And I think so. Now, what I could understand is, yes, you do see another inducement. So you see it push down again, kind of to lure in at resistance sellers, and then it finally flips the switch. So could you get buys over here? There's a decent chance. However, when this pushes down, it doesn't really clear too much liquidity. It didn't really have a ton of volume that it's inducing. So when we see a big sweep of liquidity and then it reverses, I like those plays better. When we just see it kind of sell off and then reverse, there's not as much there's not as much liquidity charged into that. So I'm, kind of indifferent with this one. Now, did anyone take this short here for Dow? Is anyone in this short? This was the setup, the sweep of liquidity, the bearish structure. Thanks, babe. What is that? Thanks. We see the lower lows, the structure. The market comes into this zone to mitigate, and now it's, blasting through. NASDAQ now is actually reaching this level as well. And so here's the question, right? Do we take this position? Did we have enough demand to take a buy here? NASDAQ is at a 71, almost 786 pullback. Dow is pulling back a bit more aggressive here, if I'm not mistaken. So about a 786. NASDAQ sitting here at 71. So, we trade above here for quite some time. We have New York open as well. Then we have a 5 minutes after, but then we lose all this momentum. This looks like it could just turn into another selling opportunity anyways. So with a trade like this, if we're going to take a buy, it would be with NASDAQ. Because the higher highs weren't too long and we have a massive pump here, one of these setups, I would want a pretty deep pullback for a decent entry here. Here you can look at Dow. Dow is in here, kind of getting into this imbalance. Could go even lower. But trading out of this zone does make sense, which we're seeing NASDAQ instantly reverse out of this area. So this is kind of the downside of me not having both screens set up at the same time, and we get such an instant crash that I wasn't even able to take this here. So as of now, we got a quick rejection, a reversal, about 30 points. The drop in itself, take a look at that right there. The drop in itself is pretty big. So we see the market sell off in here. It's much bigger than that. It's about almost 60 points. So if we do come back into this zone, it could still be a valid play. Like Dow is still dropping, and it might continue to fall some more. So we might just get another push down into this range and have that set up. So we might get one more push down. We got a decent rejection though. And for me, considering that we got yeah, so I think with this cracking the low one more time, look at where Dow is. Dow is still pushing further and further below that 786. NASDAQ is like holding up. right over here, going back and forth. Looks like that's maybe all it was going to give us. Anyone already in NASDAQ here? Were you guys ready? Did you pull the trigger? Because this is now mitigating here. Looks like we're just about to clear those 60 points. Right now it's done about 45. So this should be able to kind of get right to that previous little wick right there. And this, I don't think is coming back. All right, who took NASDAQ buys here? Closed out Dow 1-3. Nice, Edwin. Shorted NASDAQ at 21,400. Well done. Did you take profit on that? NAS just missed my entry. In there, missed the top, but took it after a 5-minute break. That's one of the problems I have with trading smart money. It's never going to be a perfect setup. I mean, yeah, it is. There's definitely like 10. I get A+ setups all the time. You just have to wait for them. I think the big thing is that people just struggle with their own timeline, their own expectations of when. I got the short. Nice. There is equal highs on Dow. Where? Me metió por poco. We're in. Okay, so Giovanna's in. A blip wasn't triggered. In there. Okay. Cool. So looking at this, right, and measuring the type of reversal that we're getting so far, just about a 52-point reversal. Let's take a look at Dow to see what kind of reaction it had. Dow also did a pretty nice sweep here. If Dow ends up just kind of trading down here and just hold, let's say it doesn't react it the same way, we might have an environment for selling later. So we'll kind of see how this unfolds as well. And then look at that, just like that, NASDAQ is back down. Technically, this is interesting because it didn't fully do that 60-point drop that, for me, would qualify it. So I might even be taking a position again, or not again, but I might still take my position if it goes below this low. But you know what's interesting is that now Dow has better price action. So take a look at this, guys. This is where trading gets advanced. This is where trading gets very, very advanced. So let me go ahead and pull this up, because this is where things can get sloppy and you've chased trades that you should not be taking. So look at what just happened here. Right now, we just saw a shift in momentum between Dow and NASDAQ. And I really, really, really want you guys to pay attention here. This is going to be really important. This whole time, NASDAQ was more bullish. It was struggling to maintain, like, it was trading a lot higher. But all of a sudden, after we got all of this volume, we're seeing NASDAQ struggle to stay up, and we're seeing Dow now be a lot more bullish. So you guys see how this just kind of flipped everything on its head? And now all of a sudden, Dow Jones is holding up this position much better. It's because this was the big sweep. This was the big move. So when you start to see price action shift like this, and you can see it now, you're seeing Dow is up at the 618. NASDAQ now is at the 71%. So when you see something like this, don't go chasing. Don't go chasing this play here. In my opinion, we have a way higher chance of seeing now Dow Jones go bullish and go and play up to the upside then we're going to see NASDAQ. At least as of right now, it's looking like it. So we're seeing Dow here at the 618. We're seeing NQ here at the 71. And so as they're dropping, Dow is holding up significantly better than we're seeing NASDAQ. The more this trades like this, the more that this can become a selling opportunity instead of a buying opportunity. So in my opinion, I think this actually is liquidating buyers, luring in sellers. We're about to see this 9 a.m. candle print. And we just saw a shift in momentum. Most people struggle to see a shift in structure and price action like this. This, again, this is way more advanced. It's real-time price action, momentum shifting. And this is where you have to start to kind of adapt to the market at a way better pace. So now it does make more sense. The buys, may make more sense on Dow because it looks like we're switching. The momentum is shifted for Dow to be more bullish than NASDAQ, at least at the moment. So I want you guys just to be dialed in on that because, otherwise you get caught holding or wanting to swing the wrong indice when it doesn't have the momentum that you want it to have anymore. So I like the buy on Dow, and I think if we get back down a little bit further, I'm willing to take a position here. This would be a mixture of a mitigation play, but also what I like to call a shakeout play. And this is where we have the break and retest, and it's luring in sellers. So it's luring in sellers, and then it makes the switch. But look at this, right? We're now seeing NASDAQ hold up all the way down to here, giving us the reversal. Dow holding really well as well, getting very bullish, seeing massive wicks. So the market wanted to rebalance a bit more before pushing another notch further. So it's holding up much better. We can see that their demand over here is not as strong. Every time we're coming back down, we're losing that momentum. What I am seeing here is that this move to the downside, even though we spiked massively, it looks like a massive buy position. If we were to hold it down here, then maybe I was looking to sell. But the fact that this is not holding it, that's not. It's a bigger struggle for sure. It's less likely for the shorts to play out because the market isn't trading down here for enough time. Every time it comes down, it just loses that momentum. Okay. Secured a 1 to 3 on audio USD. Nice. In the Dow buys. Like NAS for buys. No, it's not that they're not bullish. No. Yeah, Ruben. It's not that they're both not bullish. Bless you. It's that one was a bit more bearish than the other. So the chances of you staying within the structure, your stop actually staying within it, that's the biggest thing. So that's not really the point wasn't that it couldn't keep going or it wasn't bullish. It was that the price action in the moment was more bearish. So sometimes you guys will see it kind of wicks below something, and that's the only reason why. So right now, even now, we can go to the 1 minute, for example. So right now we're seeing the market came back down to rebalance, starting to absolutely rip. Even here, we see a little push down on NAS. It's looking to make its way higher. You're seeing Dow above a 38.2. So Dow just has a bit more momentum, a bit more strength on the way up. That's all all I was trying to emphasize for you guys is Nasdaq started to drop a bit more, started to be a bit more bearish. When it drops more aggressively, and then when it goes up, it's going up at a slower pace. This is how you don't get kind of wicked out of your positions when you're just trading the right asset class. That was kind of my whole point. Even now, for example, I think we might even see, a bit of a pullback here with NQ, with NASDAQ, maybe rebalance a bit, and then it rips again. That might do something similar here with Dow as well. And then now the question becomes, how far are you going to take your position? Because I know a lot of you are in buys right now. So where are you going to take your exit? Are you going to trade within the range? So are you just going to take your profit knowing that there's a good chance that within the range, like you can get the price to, this zone up here? Or are you going to keep seeking higher highs? Let's see. Who already hit their 2 R's and who is beyond that? Un pip de activarse. Hey, have a good day at work, all right? Good stuff. 1 pip away from triggering. Rough. La próxima. Making more money to capture on US 30 on 1 minute. Building, you said like it's building up liquidity? Yeah, Ruben, did that make sense? So, for example, right now, why is this struggling to move? There we go. So right now, we can see this structure. Dow is still pushing higher, while Nasdaq is kind of struggling to move. That's what I was getting at with when we saw that momentum shift earlier. I'm going to break even. Wicks higher, my target. I want to see us close above new open first. Cool. Yeah, so if you took buys, let's say down here or over here once the momentum shifted, or you have buys on NASDAQ, I definitely think moving your stops to break even at this point is not a bad idea by any means. Protecting your capital. We got a really quality rejection out of this area as well. This dog is funny. She's not getting off there. So, okay. Anyways, looking at the majors, I know we were looking early at AUD USD, NZD USD, but look at how AUD USD is doing kind of what we wanted to see in order to confirm a sell in the future. This is ideal. The longer we're seeing this, más tiempo pasa aquí el mercado, the more likely it is that this sell can work. So that's printing the right way. NZD and Euro and GU. So as of right now, if anything was going to work out, it might be a Euro buy, kind of like what Michael was showing us there. However, I don't think that's the it's not going to be a trade that I take because there's just not enough liquidity sweep. It's just kind of a drop and then the move. So I'm okay with that being in there, but it is what it is. And as I mentioned, I kind of expect the market to pull back here with Dow or NAS and kind of see this type of movement right now. This is kind of what I think we're going to see anyways, a little pullback. Maybe we get in below all of these wicks, or maybe it pulls a trigger from where we're at right now. Yeah, there we go. So we saw a wick down, and remember we were looking at NQ here, and we said it did a nice sell-off from here, and then the market would want to rip. And that's exactly what we got. Cleared the liquidity, filled the imbalance, played out of this, and it's gone. So even in the small time frames, you see the same type of inducement. The buildup of buyers, the push to the upside. Now you're getting a nice pump again. So Dow leading the way. Good stuff. Anyone just hit their exits with that? Boom. There you go. Right now, what I do feel, just getting a good perspective on the market in general here, I'm not very locked in on sells yet, though. Like, here we had the huge pump. The market dropped, and it traded here for a few minutes, came back down. So we for the most part, we're trading down here for maybe 10 minutes. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to do one chart at a time right now. You can take it, but I won't. I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's trading. Trading is not meant for all of us to be doing the exact same thing. Everyone can win. If you feel like you have a certain edge, a certain outlook on the market, we don't need to be the same. Like, some of you are going to take trades that I don't, and some of you are going to some of you won't take trades that I do. And that's cool. So at the moment, close that out there. And we already got that rejection there. Got the liquidity sweep here already as well. And then we can tell that Dow is pushing nicely. When do you think we'll be able to start swinging the indices? For buys or for sells? I mean, you could have been swinging the indices this whole time. We talked about so many of these entries. We literally called the low on April, or at least the lower, like the secondary higher low to here. This was the main exit that I had for this structure. All right, so right now, as we're seeing the market unfold, when we get below, there's very little demand. Over and over again, very little demand. Even right here, what we're seeing, we saw a sweep of the move, massive drop, continuation. Could we see another mitigation out of this zone at these lows? Look at this. Look at NAS. NAS gave the drop from here. So you compare the two. Now NASDAQ is a bit more bullish than see that? Look at the pullback on NQ, playing out of demand right now. A little buy right there. Just like that. Boom. Dow, deeper pullback, starting to push. So even the, like, this is a 5-second entry. I took it real quick. And then the big thing, though, is the mitigation, right? So we got the move down, 21 points. Got the rejection, 21 points. So being able to protect our capital when required is important. You don't want to just get caught up, wanting to stay in a trade that's already done its move. So in this example here, we got the sell-off, the movement, and then now here, if, for example, let's say you're qualifying this as the sell, and this as the reversal, it happens fast. So if you guys are going to trade like that, which I know some of you do, you just have to be willing to protect your money really fast as well. And what we're seeing is this shift in momentum again. Now Dow is more bearish again. So just like that, we're seeing the market flip. Okay, so check it out. So we got the reversal out of here. We got the play to the upside. In these type of market conditions, the market is proving itself. So it pulled all the way back to sweep liquidity. This liquidity into this imbalance. Same thing with NQ. Came all the way back as well. So this is very, very choppy. All of this. So when the way you structure your stops, the way you structure your entries are going to be really important. If you're going to play, like I know some of you, 15 second, 5 second, you have to be willing to move your stop just as quick. Now we're seeing the market pull up again, and Q ripping, Dow ripping, and we talked about how the market was leaving this behind, right? Some liquidity. So what did it do? In all of this choppiness, the market came all the way back, swept here, rebalanced, and then showed us its true colors. Way over here. So here's the good thing with something like this. Depending on whether it's going to be NAS or Dow, that's kind of the leading mover. We might have a buying opportunity later. So for example, here was the move to the downside. Here was the liquidity sweep. If this continues, and you have to be really careful, like you have to listen carefully when I speak, because not everything, a lot of the things I say are conditional. If this gives us a setup, right? When, in order to qualify, right, confirmations, there's a few things that always need to be setting up in order for us to take better plays. So we want that, right? We want that confirmation. We want the, for example, like demand. We want to see these things. We wait for liquidity sweeps. So same thing, whether it's going to be NAS or whether it's going to be Dow, we want that final say. So right now, for example, we had the market clear below the lows. We kind of traded here for like 10 minutes or so, and then it quickly came back up. We saw it didn't want to trade down here, came back up. We can argue that maybe this was the closing of this big buy move off of post New York Open. We saw it drop. So no demand over here. Comes up again. Low demand up here. This is where if you just start guessing, if you just start trading reactive, you're going to lose money. Because you want to oh, wait, do I buy or wait, do I sell? Instead of just give the market like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And then it'll show you yeah, this is actually what we're looking to do here. Now you can find your re-entry or an entry. But sometimes all you need to do is nothing and let the market show you. It's kind of like you'll ever hear in a negotiation, like the first person to speak loses. It's similar. Like you just let them show us their cards. They're going to. Eventually, if you give it enough time, they will show you their cards. The problem is, because we either want to be right or we just want to be in the game, we're being allured into entries. That's why it doesn't happen the way we want it to. So a big one for me really is, and I want you guys to consider this one, if you're struggling with the setup, most of the time, if you just let the market print It's going to show you its hand. It's going to allow you to have more information. You'll have more data. You'll have more confirmations. So you can get that perfect setup that you want, your signature setup. The reason that backtesting is easier, it's because you're allowing the market to print. There's not really a financial and emotional pull to it. When it's in real time, you throw in the emotions, you throw in other incentives. Right? There's more psychology involved. So when you can just let the market give you more information, and sometimes it won't give you the trade that you want. Sometimes it just won't confirm it. And there you're making the decision to either make the disciplined, system-based trade, or, just trade your emotions and be like everybody else. So let the market give you the information that you need. Let it show you its hands, and then you can deliver the strike. Okay? Okay. Right now, it's like we're seeing it happen in real time. Indecisive. It's either going to go higher or it's going to go lower. But do we need to be looking for new opportunities? No. Let it show us its hand, then we can deliver. We got to lock in, bro. I'm going to hit your DMs. Yeah, sure. Hit me up. Would you say that when someone learns smart money, it's more or less the same as the way you trade, how you view the market and your perspective? I would say it depends on how you learn smart money. Because, and that could be wrong. You guys can say, like, you guys check me right now. But if you're just learning patterns, then no, we're not trading the same. If you're just learning, like, the smart money pattern, if in a way, then no. But if you're understanding the philosophy and the psychology behind how money is being induced, how you learn how to really perceive the intention behind these massive movements, then yeah, for sure. Like, I think that's a really important thing. The only thing that I guess separates, just like my sazon, some of my, gives me just like my own specific opportunity is how I use divergence between correlating pairs or assets, and then everyone else's advantage or edge is either some sort of psychological advantage, whether it's the discipline, you're more patient, you can endure maybe more risk, or your edge might be you're just more capital heavy. But yeah, smart money, it just depends, because the issue is that people just learn patterns. They just learn trading patterns. So just like they learn break and retest, they learn just a smart money concept type of pattern, which is fine, but you're going to see them all over the place. And then if you don't have the right context, then they're going to fail a lot, and you're going to blame, the approach rather than the fact that you just didn't actually learn kind of the deeper roots of it. So that would be the only thing. Look at the market for what it is, not what it wants to be, essentially. Not what you want it to be. That's exactly how it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good take. Okay, so we'll let this thing move on. We're seeing Dow trading a little higher. NQ kind of just naturally slightly more bearish still, as it's been since it kind of flipped momentum over here. Yeah, we'll see if this will be worth, if we'll end up taking a position here or not later on. I need more, though. So as much as we want to take advantage of the little movements, I need more confirmation. Hit my max loss for the day. So my question for you is, how do you determine your max loss? Why a max loss? And what was it, trading indices or trading something else? Forever grateful for you and this skill. What a great time to be alive. I appreciate that, Giovanna. Appreciate the love. It is. We've never lived in a better time. That's 100% at least my belief. Okay, so I'm being asked about Bitcoin. We can look at Bitcoin. Indices, my plan is if I lose more than 2% a day, then we cut off trading for the day. Why? Why? Is it because you don't want to spiral and be more emotional? What if there's another like textbook setup? Capital preservation. So are you just trading for the day? Or are you trading for the week? Or are you trading for the month? So you're preserving capital. Okay. But what if there's another textbook setup? You just are not going to take it? I'm not questioning towards whether you're right or you're wrong. I just want to understand your mindset. And maybe I can give some feedback. Is the equal high from yesterday's New York session a good target for Dow? Let's see. All right, so Dow has made its decision, and it's off. So from here, I don't see equal highs from yesterday's New York session. This cleared the high. But yeah, I mean, you could target right now. We're squeezing a whole bunch, so if this is going to rip, it's probably gone. I think you could target up here. I would say I would just target the above the high, just this next breakout out, because keep it safe. Or just, trail your stop. At this point, I want to see if we get this demand. Then I would like a buy in here. I'd like see if I can get a little play over here later on. But I want this to stay up here. It's moving too erratic. It's just too choppy for me to be sold on. What's my risk management plan? Depends on the type of account. So like the way I trade my live account is not the same how I trade my prop firm futures account, for example. Those are two different approaches. And then CFDs, prop firms are different. And then how you do a challenge versus how you do a live account, like once you're funded, is different as well. I can't even answer, making me think super hard. Exactly, Vaughn. That's my point. I want you to think hard about it. So I'll give you my philosophy, and it may not be what works for you guys, okay? So for example, to piggyback off of Vaughn's question, right, or what Vaughn said. He said after losing 2% in a day, he stops trading. The reason that I don't approach the market like that is because for me, I trade under the belief that I have zero understanding of when my probabilities are going to play out. I know my probabilities. And so, but what I can't do is I can't assume or guess that which one's going to work and which one isn't. So as long as there's no sort of, emotional trading going on and my textbook setup is there, I'm going to take it, whether it's the first or the fourth trade of the day. But the biggest caveat here, the biggest difference is that I'm keeping a gauge on, is this an impulsive trade? Is this an emotional trade? So as long as it's not, even if I've lost 2 or 3 in a row, but if the next trade is there, that trade has nothing to do with the rest of them. The setup has zero connection to your emotional volatility. That setup has zero connection to the outcomes of the last setups. You just feel worse. So now you don't want to feel rejection. You don't want to fear loss anymore. So for me, rejecting a quality setup because of my feelings, it doesn't make sense. They're not correlated. Those are not it's not a cause and effect. So That's why I don't really set that. Um, I understand why people do, because and it's in a way it is responsible. It's like, oh yeah, I'm protecting my money, you know, and you are. But also trading on its own is putting your money at risk. It's a game of risk. So I absolutely understand capital preservation, but I think for me at least, capital preservation is in the risk per trade, not in the risk per day. This way, I've already assumed the loss. Now, if all of a sudden you've taken 14 trades, then you didn't have a pulse on the emotional side, right? And you're just like, you're chasing the outcome. You're not like, you probably shouldn't, you should, well, at least now with my entry model, I'm not going to see 14 trades in a day. I'm probably not going to see 5 trades in a day. So yeah, that's how I keep it in mind. If you are doing that to protect your money, is it to protect your money or is it to protect your emotions? Is it so that you don't make worse decisions? And if it is, like, let's say, for example, you know, you're capping yourself at 2% so that you don't spiral, then we're not really solving the problem, which is why do I crash? So you got to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. It's like if I see another quality setup, sure, I'll take it, but sitting out to protect my mental would be better on the brain. So sitting out to protect your mind isn't better on your brain, is figuring out the problem is better on your brain. Because otherwise that trade plays out and now you threw off your RR because out of fear, not out of the system. Questions, Mike. Sometimes I can't catch opening bell due to my work schedule and I like to trade opening bell. What do you recommend for the session I should trade? I don't really trade agent session. Get a new job or get a different schedule. But don't sacrifice your income or anything like that. But, I mean, a job is just a job. You can always find a different job. Or, you know, do whatever. Figure out another income stream. I usually take lunch break and catch indices moving around that time, but I miss a lot of setups. It depends on how you want to prioritize certain things. So going into trading, once I started to trade with a little bit of money, not a lot, you know, but like once I was funding my account, and I had like, I guess I felt like I actually stood a chance at something, because I funded my account day one, but once I felt like, okay, I might actually be able to make a little bit of money, I literally found a way to optimize the business's work schedule. I was just a bar back, but I found holes in the business that I was working for in their schedule. And so I literally optimized it so I could show up at the time that made sense for me and still actually save them more money. So that's to the extent in which I went to make this easier for me and for it to just, because this is what I knew I wanted to prioritize. So it wasn't about, you know, like quitting everything and having no income. I think that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. So this is for me, I'll give you guys some perspective. Never bring down your cash flow to zero if you don't have a plan, like a financial plan as a trader. If you don't have what I call the peace of mind fund, 6 to 12 months of, you know, expenses put aside, if you don't have quite a bit of capital that you're trading with, whether it's props or whether it's your own, like don't go full time to study this if you don't have any of that. Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, this isn't what solves your problems. This multiplies your money, but it shouldn't substitute it right away. Yeah, I don't trade. I really never trade agent session, and I'm never trading London because I'm asleep when I'm in the U.S. When I'm overseas, if I'm in Europe or if I'm in Asia, then yeah, it changes, but that's about it. Operating on what is and not what ifs. Yeah, write that one down. The building behind you looks like a honeycomb. It's actually two. Two, those are the Marina Towers. Those are sick. I actually had a skateboard that had those on the deck. Those are my favorite ones ever. S&P looks nice for sells. Nasdaq squeezing crazy. S&P does look a lot better for sells. You're right. It's not bad. These highs I don't love though. Swept the high. I mean, yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, you might get a short at it, S&P. It traded below the low for a minute here. Let's see. Had a little psychology break here. Okay, so overall, obviously we've been bullish. The market here hasn't quite swept these highs. Even getting up to here, kind of played into this zone. On the 1 minute, I mean the 5 minute, we're still just ranging. The 1 minute, yeah, we broke below. It's okay. The fact that we just kind of have liquidity over here, these just flat, not my favorite. I'd rather just not really do anything there. I'm okay with not being in that. I'm fine. I'm chilling. Okay. And then I was asked about Bitcoin. Not really doing much here. I'm not trading anything in Bitcoin at the moment. Had a big sweep here before the market rallied, and then we've traded above. We might come back into maybe an imbalance here, but I'm cool. These indices are struggling to just keep pumping them. Let's see what other questions you guys had in here. That's what I'm doing now. Being a supervisor, I get on calls after checking in with my crew in the morning and making sure they're good and keep up with them after. Cool. I remember the Beyond the Matrix series. That took me to the next level of trading. Kind of wish I could rewatch it. It'll be uploaded soon in the school community. Midnight Oss right now. Got to stay dedicated. That's what's up, James. You locked in, bro. Thank you for taking a peek. Oh, what's up, Brandon? I got you. So let's zoom in on this Dow play. Dow over here. Whoa. Dow over here is starting to trade above, gets below. We're trading above the high again. So we want to see the market, really hold up the structure, show us that there's demand. This is not that yet. This to me is signs of weakness, that there's really not demand above 42,300. So it's not quite proving itself yet. And then same thing with Nasdaq. Nasdaq's kind of struggling. So need Dow to really kind of hold it down, just trade up here. If it has to be another, 15, 20 minutes of us just kind of getting this, then fine, because it'll probably be sweeping all of this liquidity that's building up again. Huh? Oh, really? I did it again. Damn it. I'd be like, I swear I just went it back. Here you go. So, what's up, Jeff? Took a buy at 59.02 for S&P. So, yeah, I'm not taking any S&P buys. I think for me that's actually kind of the least bullish of the indices at the moment. We're seeing S&P actually struggle to work its way higher between all three. So, S&P, since we had the shift in momentum on price action earlier, I was 15 minutes after New York Open, then, we started to see Dow leading the movement to the upside more than Nas and S&P. So buys, if I'm going to take buys, it's going to be Dow over the rest of them in this current market condition. But even then, right now, I'm not totally in love with the fact that we're not really holding these highs very well at all. Every time we poke above, it comes right back. Above, right back. So I want to see more proof that it's going to hold. And with that being said, all right, Sol coming back here. Alts are holding a lot better at the moment. Let's look at metals again. After a good rejection here with silver, came back up to the zone, pulled back. Let's see, what about gold? Same thing, gold, little bit of a pullback up. Got that doji, lured buyers in. Looks like it might actually go and maybe it just continues this imbalance. It might. Thoughts on USD JPY? I have buy setups, but it's so much further down. Like so much further down. So we are very, very far away from any sort of buys. I do like sells on USD JPY as well. But yeah, we got a long way to go before we get there. We saw a sweep of these highs here. This was April 2nd. So we could get here too. Odd JPY is not on my New York watch list since those are two Asian session pairs. And then circling back, USD CHF still a setup here. So I'll keep this one. This one this stays on the list. So let me go ahead and, if you haven't joined the community, guys, it's pinned at the top. Click that. Oh yeah, you guys had a few. Oh, y'all really had some setups in here. So let me go ahead and, all right, you know what I'll do is, let me look at them real quick and then I'll start let me let some of you guys in here. I don't know what to put here. Oh, actually, you know what, Matt? I should not be clicking on that. My bad, guys. I'm gonna have to cut that. Okay. Well, I'll do this. I'm gonna do a recap in here. I'm gonna drop it in the pin section. And appreciate you guys liking the channel, the live stream, for subscribing and doing all that. I believe by tomorrow you guys will be able to sign up for the free 3-day trading psychology sessions that we're going to be doing next week. So we'll have that all said and done. What's up, Daza? What's good? But I'll see you guys really soon. I'll drop that here. And then I'm running short on time, so you know what? I'll do a quick, what's it called? I'll run through these real quick. Any input on why this trade failed? Let's see. GU, this setup here. Euro still needed to fill the imbalance, so you were taking a swing at a sell at a pair that was a lot more bullish than a correlated one. So like Euro was like way over here when GU was already there. That's why that one failed. Hard sheet. Decent. I think I prefer odd USD than Euro right now. Huh? Yeah. USD CAD. Yeah, so it mitigated this huge one. This could be a setup. We'll let it Let it form some more. Toby. I think we already rejected this yesterday. And for me, once it mitigates once, I'm not forcing that anymore. Believe it or not, I used to trade Euro NZD a lot. I used to do Asian sessions. It's actually one of my favorite ones to trade. A little sweep, some chop. So with Euro JPY, this could be a good setup. I would probably just take a look at like GBP JPY or some of those other yen pairs just to have see what the correlations look like. Euro NZD. I can't really tell you anything about all these gray things here, but this isn't bad. Take a look at Euro odd as well and see how they compare. And then Gabriel, this will be the last chart that I look at. Aquí que tenemos. No está mal. Parece que aquí podrías tener liquidez. Entonces dibuja una línea y revisa si hay liquidez ahí o no. Okay, so depending on how this continues, if we can get bullish price action, then I might take a swing at a buy down here. If we don't and we just keep working our way down, then I'll just stay out of this. We're seeing this squeeze, so a big move is probably coming. Which direction, though, is uncertain. Out of all of this, I think the S&P kind of playing out of this few minutes after New York Open where it pumps the highs and then drops. It looks like S&P would probably be the best short out of what's left here. So take care, guys. Appreciate that. And then, if you guys had any wins today, we definitely saw indices pump, and there were people in position to take 2Rs, 3Rs, etc. So let us know in the win section. We are going to be doing some giveaways at the end of the week based on, people that are getting amazing wins and just plugging in. Wins don't just have to be the outcomes, right? It's the processes, the lessons, and things like that. So good stuff, guys. Thanks for showing up. We'll be back here again tomorrow. I'll set up the stream right now so you guys can get the notification when I go live. But tomorrow I should be live. We have PPI, so I will do my best to be live by then. Anyways, take care, y'all. Remember to journal your trades. Journal your trades. All right. Peace out, guys.